Let's go!
At the end of the day, I want to be known as Jayden Daniels and not the next such and such.
The most exciting quarterback duel of the season is here between Lamar Jackson and Jayden freaking Daniels. And I'm going to share what makes this Ravens offense so freaking fun to watch. It's their formational diversity, right? They'll get out in heavy sets and then throw a screen to the running back who is at wide receiver, okay? So this is probably my favorite Todd Monken call of the season when watching the Ravens. What formation are they in, okay? Well, it looks like two wide receivers to the left, but the more interesting question is what personnel grouping are they in, okay? So you get a little motion here, and you get a traditional fullback in an I formation. So the first number of a formational group is the amount of running backs on the field, and that means that there are two running backs and or fullbacks. It looks like this is 21 personnel with only one tight end, but in reality, it is 22 personnel because Isaiah Likely is a tight end. But because Likely is such a talented receiver, you could split him out wide and it'd still be a good threat. Either way, the Ravens are thinking they are running the football here on 1st and 10 with King Henry, right? Take a look at what the Bengals box is doing. 5 and 4 right here. So 9 guys are in the box. So what do? It looks like a run, but it is indeed a play-action fake with a two-man route concept, and all you're doing is throwing the deep comeback route, okay? The formational and personnel design is what creates these open opportunities. Zay Flowers' speed, of course, gets the corners on their heels, and, of course, Zay Flowers kind of a slow-ish start, but this Ravens offense has been anything but that this year. So we get to the best or clutches running back run of the season from Derrick Henry here in overtime. And this is going to be an interesting decision from the Commanders. Obviously, their defensive tackle play, according to PFF, hasn't been that great. We know there is some talent up front in this Commanders front, but you'll see here that the Bengals are dedicating a lot of beef to this front, right? A 5-man front with a tight front from their DTs, right? So you have a DT in this B gap, you have a DT in this B gap, and then you have a straight-up nose who's supposed to 2-gap and play both A gaps, right? And, of course, you have some stacked linebackers here. And the Ravens actually do something smart, right? If you're going to dedicate a lot of guys tight and into the middle, we're going to run a pitch, all right? Now, this is really difficult to do, but what happens to the Bengals here is they have guys that lose their gap, right? 74, who's just been a disaster. I mean, all the Bengals DTs have been disasters. You've got to stay in this gap, but watch what happens on the snap. He gets turned to the inside, okay? So that intentionally cuts off all these other DTs from getting over the top and making a play. You never want to be in this spot if your job is that B gap. Now, you see Trey Hendrickson here. He has a difficult assignment. This wide receiver's job is to seal Hendrickson to the outside. He realizes that this is a pitch, and you see the wide receiver patty cakes and misses this block terribly. Now, in a pitch to the outside, you're probably feeling pretty good about Hendrickson holding this contain. The issue is because this DT got wiped to the inside so easily, this tackle was able, off the double, to get to Pratt here on the second level, and this guard was able to just clean this DT completely out, which causes a seal. Then, after Hendrickson does a good job, cutting off this edge, the corner also serves as a contained defender, which takes himself out of the play as he over-pursues it. Now, the last part of this is you still have a safety in Von Bell, very casual at the line of scrimmage. You can see he has a little bit of a late little jump reaction here. He's got a shot to make this play, but remember this offensive lineman was able to get to the backer Pratt so easily that washes into Bell, and Bell loses a ball carrier, right? Now, a lot of this was Derrick Henry still having a lot of juice, but the blocking was great, which was helped by really, really, really awful interior defensive line play. But let's actually mold everything that we've seen in the first couple of plays together, right? So you get some pre-snap motion, but once again, it is the I formation. And what's interesting about this play from the Commanders is everybody actually stays in their gap. They just don't have anybody to account for this B gap, okay? Bobby Wagner's gap is this A gap. Payne's gap is this A gap. There's just nobody here in this B gap unless the safety was supposed to fill, and you're basically just giving away these yards, which is not what you want to do versus Derrick freaking Henry at all. So what do the Commanders do on the very next play? Well, they bring another guy into the box, another guy at the line of scrimmage, and they're going to say, hey, we're not going to let you just run the football here with Zach Moss. Since he's in 12 personnel here, play action fake. Every time you see single high, you throw a go ball to Jamar Chase, no questions asked. And if you're the Commanders, you have to ask yourself, right, how many Lamar go balls to Zay Flowers have actually been complete this year? Not that many. So the Commanders are going to have to choose, do we want to live in single high and trust our corners going up against their receivers, okay? Look at when Joe actually throws this ball. Man, that is so much freaking anticipation. It's not really any kind of tight window throw, and these guys have 1,000 passes together in chemistry. But, you know, can you trust your corners versus Zay Flowers, Nelson Aguilar, and the Ravens wide receivers? If I'm Washington, I'm trusting them and forcing someone else other than Derrick Henry to beat me. So this is a perfect defensive rep whenever you're going up against a guy like Jayden Daniels and also a guy like Lamar Jackson. You can't get too aggressive, right? I don't even know if blitzing Jayden Daniels is the right thing to do because you saw last week he just deleted blitzers with the speed. You honestly just need to be able to play coverage and just stay in your rush lanes, right? And that's exactly what the Bengals do here to perfection. You can't really do it that much better than that, but I want you to see the power of Jayden Daniels right here. One thing he's always been really good at is mitigating sack loss damage, right? You know, his junior season at LSU in 2022, he did take a lot of sacks, but they were a lot of these 1 and 2 yard sacks, right? Lamar's pretty good at that as well. So if you're a Ravens fan, you do feel pretty good about one thing. Kyle Hamilton, right? He was built in a lab to come up against a guy like Lamar Jackson, right? So here he is shedding off a Zach Moss block right here. Easy little swim, no problem there. Moss is a good pass protector, but in this case, Joe just has to eat a sack. And then on top of this, you get some edge pressure mixed in here as well, okay? So actually, it was a corner blitz right here. So this is what you have to do. Obviously, Jayden Daniels has absolutely destroyed the blitz this year, but if he's going to make that first guy miss, having another guy there definitely helps out as well. And one thing you cannot do versus Jayden Daniels is lose contained to the right. Okay, so Kyle Hamilton is the contained defender, and he is blitzing right here, okay? Or he's reading run, play action, whatever you want to call it, okay? So you'll see he's trying to juke James Cook right here. James Cook isn't nearly as big. He takes an inside angle and then is able to spin off of this and catch up to Josh Allen. With all due respects to Josh Allen, who is probably the biggest freak of nature in the NFL, Jayden Daniels is running for a lot of yards off of this. He's burning every single person for a nice gain. And obviously, you get this guy late. This guy's a pretty good football player as well. Jayden's probably gaining 4 or 5 yards there. But still, Kyle Hamilton, definitely the best kind of spy that Jayden has played up to this point. All right, so we get to this 4th and 3. Okay, Jock, he is a linebacker. Obviously not as athletic as Kyle Hamilton, but one of the more athletic linebackers in the league, okay? He gets, in essence, a free run here at Jayden Daniels, and Jayden elects to not throw this football here to Luke McCaffrey for an easy first down. So, in essence, you're going to see Kyle Hamilton many times in this spot. Can he actually bring Jayden Daniels down? Jayden elects to completely delete Jock off the planet Earth here with this. I mean, he is actually closer to Baltimore, Maryland than he is D.C. here in defending Jayden freaking Daniels. And obviously, if you lose contained versus Jayden, especially to the right side, he's not so much a thrower on the run. He can throw on the run. He's been really good at it this year, but he really likes to run when he breaks contained because of things like this, okay? A lot of you saw Jayden's clip at the beginning. He just wants to be himself. You know, everybody compares him to Lamar Jackson. And look, they are very similar. Transcendent Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks who obviously are more than just ungodly great runners. You've seen a few tweets, though, from QB class, right? Derek Klassen, who is a pretty great quarterback evaluator, he doesn't really think the two are all that similar. I somewhat agree with this. And, obviously one thing Lamar has on Jayden is just processing, right? Jayden is a good processor. Lamar is ungodly good at it, right? So he starts off looking to the left. I want you to see how difficult of a throw this is. There is a delayed pressure coming from the right side. So Lamar does have a good pocket. He sees Mark Andrews here, but that's not where he throws the football. He waits for Tylan Wallace to go through the second window, and under heavy pressure makes this throw right on the numbers in that window. All right. Jayden has had windows in particular over the middle and just in general that he's missed so far this season, and he's still been as good as he's been. So that obviously is coming with time, right? I've gotten a lot of this comment on my Jayden videos. Hey, he's missing quite a few open guys. Yes, because he is still a first-year quarterback, right? A lot of rookies miss open guys, but he's still been unfreaking believably successful. And guess what? Eventually, he's going to start hitting more of these open guys. In particular, Luke McCaffrey, who's done a really good job of getting open. And obviously, if you're a Terry McLaurin fantasy owner, it's been a frustrating year because while Terry and Jayden have played well together, there have been misses, as many of you know. But honestly, the truth still remains the same. These two quarterbacks are near impossible to stop, and both defensive coordinators are just crossing their fingers and hoping for the best, okay? It is Power Hour NFL Boom. So you guys let me know who you think will win this battle, and tonight we are doing chicken quesadillas. Let's go.